I'm Ryan. I'm one of the directors at Elwood. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. We just wanted to have a day to connect with our community and let you guys deeper into the brand. It's an ongoing mission of ours to bring the community more into the brand, and I don't think enough brands do it. So we're here to have a chat with the founder and let you guys a little bit further into the brand, and then we'll turn it over to you guys for questions. So this is Jay. I'll let you.
Hi. Whoa. Hello, everyone. I never know where to put this fucking thing. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it. Malibu is my home, so it feels right to do this here. And I have my niece and my sister and my mom and all you guys. And to be honest, before I get speaking, I think I just want to say everything that I say is in my opinion. It's what's worked for me. It's what hasn't worked for me. And I think that's a big thing as I've been growing in my career of, taking everything kind of with a grain of salt, even from me today. Take it with a grain of salt, see how it fits into your life and your journey and your season that you're in. I'm so excited to chat. My heart rate's pretty fast right now. I don't have my Aura ring on. I forgot it at home, but I've been tracking my heart rate quite a bit, and it's pretty fast right now. But I'm stoked to be here with you guys. And kind of what Nev was saying, this is just all about the community. And I learn so much from you guys every day. If it's comments or DMs or my YouTube and everything, I truly learn from you guys every day. So I appreciate you guys on a Saturday coming here. Could be a worse place to be, but I'm excited to jump into this and hopefully be able to answer some of your guys' questions. So this fucking mic thing, I don't know how to do it, but let's do it.
So I'm going to be emceeing today's event. So I think what we'll start is let's talk a little bit about your background and why clothing as an industry, and then sort of how the brand developed. And let's just start at the beginning for this journey.
I grew up here in Malibu, played soccer my whole life. And clothing, I would say probably in high school, 8th grade going into 9th grade, I kind of just started dressing a little bit differently than others, and started wearing Converse when everyone was still wearing skate shoes, and people were starting to say things, and girls were starting to say things, and I was kind of like, okay, this clothing thing, it's kind of something. My biggest idol was Beckham, and is Beckham, and he was the first one to kind of marry football and fashion. So that's kind of where I was I really wanted to be him growing up. So I then was okay, I'm not going to play pro, so what am I going to do? And that's kind of where this clothing thing came together. And before I even knew I could lead in the way that I believe I lead my team, I just knew how to put outfits together. That was the first thing that I realized about myself, of I could just go into my room, put go in my closet, and all of a sudden I was just I thought I looked good, and people started saying oh, where do you get all this stuff? And that's when I started realizing at a kind of a younger age of maybe I could make some stuff that people want to wear, but I didn't know how. I didn't even know where to start at that standpoint. I was still young, but it was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to be in clothing, but I wanted to play soccer first. So that was kind of the start, and now we're sitting here today.
For me personally, I feel like clothing is this, I'm a little introverted, so it's a form of self-expression.
Yeah.
Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I always say, so I'm a firm believer of when you look at yourself in the mirror during the day and you're about to go out to an event wherever with peers, And if you look at yourself and you like genuinely think you look rad, I swear it gives you like 2 basis points up. I like truly think it from like the self-esteem, the mental health side of it. I think if like you personally think you look good, I feel like you kind of like elevate or vibrate at like a higher level than maybe you would have without that outfit on. That's personally for me. So that's like big. That's one of the big things here at Elwood of like wanting people to like feel that about themselves. I'm huge into the whole mental health space, and I'm huge into like being self-aware, and I know when I put on a good outfit and someone says something, or I look at myself, I'm like, damn, like I look good today, or I feel good. I truly think you're up 2 basis points, and no matter where you're at that level, it's always better to be a little higher than lower. So, yes, I do think I think it's huge, and I think it's a way for a lot of people to express themselves. But I don't think, especially men, not saying y'all here, but just like men that I talk to, I don't think they understand how much it can actually change like the way they feel. In my opinion, I have a friend, Casey. He just used to wear skinny jeans and Chelsea boots all the time, and bless his heart, like if that's your vibe, great. But he came to my office a couple months ago, and I filled up the back of my Mercedes with like 50 pounds of clothes and gave it all to him. And he has said he just recently moved to Miami, and he did say people have never spoke to me about my clothing in my life. And truly, like, it is rad when someone sits there and says like, oh, it's a cool outfit. It makes you feel seen, you know? I think that's like that's a big part in this world. We all kind of want to feel seen in some way, shape, or form. And I kind of do it through clothing at times.
So how do you take that expression and brand it? Like, how do you get from there to I'm going to start either a clothing brand, or for you, Elwood? Like, what's that journey like?
Probably not knowing what to do with my life at that moment. You know, I started working at a garment manufacturer, and I learned so much, the ins and outs of shipping, producing, manufacturing, sales. And so it kind of started there of like, okay, let me just put my foot in the door and see if I even like clothing, or if I like manufacturing, if I like, I don't know, it was a garment manufacturer that really just did like ladies' blouses and kids' tops and stuff. So it was nothing to do with what we're sat here right now talking about. It was very much about, you know, JCPenney's and Sears and Kohl's and just making product for them. But it was a great space to learn. I always say I learned the manufacturing side before I learned the creative side. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting because the manufacturing side is not sexy
Yeah.
at all. Would you recommend that people start in that capacity?
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me it worked because I was able to truly understand. I do Walmart's young men's apparel for them, if you guys didn't know. And, you know, it's 10 to 12 to 14 million units a year. So to be able to like go and actually make that many pieces of clothing and see it all come to life really allowed me to have that step up when starting. Hey, Penelope. I love you. It allowed me just like I always say my little like competitive advantage over friends and peers that are so creative and even more creative than me. But when I can sit and look at a piece of clothing and really understand that I can get it from A to Z, no matter how many pieces that we need, I think just gave me the confidence to know when, you know, I really wanted to dive into Elwood, I could make it happen on the manufacturing side. The branding and the creative side, I didn't really know. That was a shot in the dark of, hey, people like how you dress, Justin, maybe you can give them some pieces. And that's truly how it started, of just wanting to create my ideal closet. And if people fucked with it, they did. If they didn't, that's cool too. Like, I love them. So yeah.
Yeah, because the creative side is almost easier than figuring out the manufacturing side, right? So there is that dichotomy.
Yeah, I think in LA there's so many fucking creative people. It's crazy. Everywhere you go, there's someone that's like more creative than you, and you learn so much from those people. And I think if you can be like very open-minded to like taking that information in from those that, I don't know if the word's better, but you know, a step up in creativity or a step up in brand or a step up in life or maturity in business or whatever. If you can have an open mind and say, I'm going to learn from you and not compete with you, I think is like a very, I don't know, it's something that I've always, I used to compete a lot, and then I realized like, why am I competing when I can just learn to be my best self and my best leader and my, I don't know, have my best brand that I'm supposed to have kind of thing, you know? I think level setting those expectations are huge from when starting and growing, and no matter where you're at in business, I think that's big. Kind of went on a tangent, sorry.
This is something we talk about a lot. When you start a brand, and there are thousands of brands in LA alone, in order to really stand out, your why becomes big. When you started with Elwood, and I'm sure the why has evolved because you have evolved.
Yep.
What was that why at the beginning, and then how do you see it today?
The why was, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, so
Yeah.
I think I want to be in clothing. That was like the why, because I didn't really want, I never wanted a boss. My mom sat back there. I always felt that I could like work for myself in one way, shape, or form. And so the why was like truly, okay, you want to be your own boss, you have a vision, go for it, and like kind of attack it and go after it. I think that's where it started. And then from the clothing perspective, it was just like, I don't know, like where can you go and get your perfect outfit? For me, I couldn't go anywhere to get my ideal, my perfect outfit. And yeah, there's the H&Ms and the Zaras and the Targets and the Walmarts and the Maxfields and everything. And a lot of people probably could go and get their thing. But for me, I was very picky of having like everything come together from a fit, a quality, and color standpoint. So that's kind of like why it started there. And to your point, yeah, it has evolved. But I would say A, because I wanted to be my own boss, and then B, I feel like there was a void in the market to create this ideal closet that everyone could relate with. Nike is one of my biggest inspirations just because everyone wears Nike. And I think like that's been one of my big things for Elwood. I want every person to feel comfortable wearing Elwood, because if I feel comfortable with my anxieties and my stuff wearing my clothing, I feel like that can kind of help others throughout their day and throughout their lives. And that's kind of the why of Elwood, and God knows where it's gotten to today, but it's everywhere.
So the why started kind of out of necessity and grew to this almost place of service.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
So now I want to move sort of into this idea of service and talk about, as we step into this next chapter with Elwood, community is our big focus. How did we land here? How did we get here? What does that mean to you?
I mean, you guys are the brand. I think everyone sat here today is like why I'm sat here today, to be honest. I couldn't do it without you guys. And I think like community today for direct-to-consumer businesses is, I've been saying this for years now, but I think the consumer wants to buy from someone that they can relate to. And it might sound cliche because we probably hear that all the time with buying from athletes or influencers or brand ambassadors or something like that. But I truly have been feeling that for the past 5 to 6 to 7 years, because at my Walmart business, there is no community attached to it. It's just Walmart, the biggest retailer in the world. So obviously their community is built in within their people. But yeah, I think like personally, like I wanna be able to understand and know who and what I'm buying from and why. And I think that as a direct-to-consumer brand, I think that is how we can achieve that, is through community, right? I think you guys have to understand who I am. You have to understand how I vibrate or the team vibrates, and yeah. So I think community is the way of really, yeah, getting the point across, of the brand in like an authentic way, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and you and I a couple of days ago had this conversation around the idea of impact over extract.
Yeah.
Right? Talk to me about how
Yeah.
you got there and why that's important to you.
I love that
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, Ryan brought this up the other day of like impact over extract from the community, right? Like, how can I impact y'all's life? That's kind of the biggest thing to me. And instead of sitting here saying, okay, well, go fucking buy shit later. Like, that's, I think that's now more than ever with every single brand that is pushing buy, which, hey, Elwood does that. You guys probably have seen our fucking ads. We run them. But that said, I do think like in an authentic way, if we can impact y'all's life, if that's through like the clothing that you wear, if that's just showing up at an event and meeting someone new, that's kind of our goal of kind of impacting y'all versus kind of extracting from you. And then I think authentically, we all have to choose communities and things to be a part of. So why not kind of lead in that way? And hopefully you guys choose to be a part of this community. And yeah.
So as a rookie MC, I think I skipped over a building block that I actually want to go back and touch on, but it relates to community.
Yeah.
I think that the community can benefit from understanding our struggle in building Elwood. So when we were building Elwood, what are some big roadblocks that you overcame that you probably didn't even think about to start? And then how can we tell them like the shit's coming?
Yeah.
And what do you do? So a couple big roadblocks, like let's start at the beginning and then.
Yeah. I think number one is self-doubt. I think like we all have it within us, right? I think being open and honest with yourself and really like being able to look at yourself in the mirror and believe in your vision, even though if something's not going in your favor or someone didn't buy that thing that you were obsessed with or something along those lines, to really like try and push yourself through that. So I think self-doubt was like huge. Not only at the beginning, it is today, like yesterday, the day before. I think we all have that on a daily basis, and not letting that get in your path of your vision, I think is like very important. And it's hard to do, like very, very hard to do, especially in this competing environment with that brand's doing this and this person's doing that and their revenue's there and they just dropped that and they're over there. And yeah, it's crazy. I think just like, so I think number one is like overcoming like adversity and self-doubt. I think that was like probably my biggest thing, because at Elwood at the beginning, there was no like real roadblocks in terms of like production and manufacturing. Like I said, I kind of had been doing that for years before Elwood. So that's usually a lot of people's roadblocks, is like, how the fuck do I even get clothing? Or where can I get it from? China, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Cambodia, Jordan, downtown LA, Nevada, California. Where am I going, right? I think that was such a lucky thing for me that I didn't have that. And then I think as it grew, I think currently it's being a leader and a good leader, and how can I be a leader for my team? I think that's been kind of some of the biggest hurdles and challenges that I've probably had, of trying to understand how everyone vibrates, because I care about everyone on my team so deeply, probably too much at times, and trying to put the business first, but then also putting them first, and what's the best way I can do that as like a hybrid. But yeah, I think again, I've been blessed at Elwood where I haven't had these like crazy things. I guess maybe like during COVID, we had like kind of Elwood and the Walmart business. We had like, I don't know, probably $30 million of goods stuck off the port at Long Beach, and like you couldn't get them. That was pretty crazy, and you never knew when you were going to get them because all the traffic down at the ports. So that was like a scary roadblock, but yeah, it's not really a roadblock.
Yeah. So along those lines, as you're growing the brand, how are you finding the people that you want to work with, the creatives that you think will build the brand alongside of you? How do you navigate finding the people that will strengthen your less strong areas?
A lot of trial and error, that's for sure.
Yeah.
This is my first time doing this, so I think when people like sometimes see people in my position, and again, I am just like y'all, I'm just still striving to be better every day and continue to grow this thing. But yeah, I would say trial and error is big, and like really, I'm a huge sport guy. Sport is my life, so I have a lot of analogies towards sport. But you know, I think as a business grows, I think your team grows, right? And I think like you have to make certain decisions to be able to get from point A to point B, and then you got to go from B to C and so forth. So I think like that is where a lot of the trial and error is of when you get to a certain amount of revenue and you have a certain amount of employees, it's like, okay, what's next? Or like, how am I going to get there? And then the first thing you do look at is the people that got you there, which is your team, right? So I think that's like a really big thing that I don't know if a lot of people truly understand of how important the team is, but how important it is to keep the team going in the direction that you need it to go to achieve your goals and the brand's goals and the business's goals. So, you know, I think those are kind of, that's how I kind of navigate it.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and so now we can step back into where we were before, because we're now going to talk about what I'm excited about, which I know you are as well, the future of Elwood, and like, where are we going? Why have we chosen this kind of community route? And we talk about this all the time, but brand and the way that we go to market is so different today than it was when you started Elwood. The way that brands win going forward, you know, we've all been on Instagram. Brands have been crushing it on Instagram for forever. But now we're kind of going back to in-person, community, connecting with the people.
Yeah.
We are no longer this company that sits online and markets to people. We're going back and connecting with the people physically.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about why you decided to go that route.
By the way, it's pretty good, isn't it? These are some good questions. And just like your composure up here is great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Physical, I love people. So to be honest, this type of business is like easy for me to see. It's clear of like kind of what we have to do. I feel more comfortable like around a bunch of people and being inspired by a bunch of people than not. So so I'm excited about this new path and journey. And yeah, I think like the way in which like Elwood is going to achieve it is really like going back to like the roots of like why we started this. And I asked my team this the other day I didn't ask them. I kind of told them in our Monday meeting of just like, we're all here to be a part of this cool brand, whatever cool is, right? Whatever your expectation is cool. I don't really care. But like, that's kind of what I said to them. And I said, like, we all have to like take a step back and maybe not think about the growth as much and the revenue and the amount of people that are engaged with the brand. I think it's like stepping like almost fully back and really looking back at like why we're here as a brand and what we're here to solve. And within that solution comes these like physical community events and connection. And we're opening up our first retail store. Well, maybe we got told we might not. But no, we are. It just depends where. But yeah, I think the connection is so big. I have a word for my team like every January when we get back, and last year's word was like connect, and like connect with one another and connect with like our community and connect with the way we're shipping out product and all of those things. So I think just like continuously going down this path and making people feel more and more part of the Elwood community. And it's tough for Elwood, right? Because we are like just a clothing brand at the end of the day. Yes, we're striving to be more than just a clothing brand, but at the end of the day, people log onto our website and buy our clothes. So I think what we see in the run clubs and all that, it's so much more than the product. It is just everyone getting together in the community and doing it. So that's Elwood's goal, and how we get there, I think that's you and our team, and trying to figure out like what we're gonna do that's gonna separate us, so y'all want to come here on a Saturday and hang out with us and do. But yeah, I think it's the easiest. I think if we do it correctly, LA is the easiest space to do it in because there is no community. So I think people are looking for this day in and day out of like-minded people where you can sit around, hang out, go on a run, go for a swim, play sport, whatever it might be. I think once we break in to it, I think it'll be kind of a chain reaction because I think most people are craving it. You know, I'm craving it. So hopefully we can offer that to y'all and whoever else wants to come in the future and continue to just mob, I guess.
We would also like to know how can we create physical opportunities to connect with our consumer? What does that look like? Events, the pop-up store, obviously, we're talking about.
Yeah.
Let us in on your thoughts on that.
Gosh. The retail store for sure. I think that will be like a huge place. The way we're going to build it out, if my business partner lets me, it's a lot of money. I want it to be a space where we can all just show up and not have to shop or anything like that. Just be together. And I want you guys to walk into that space and feel like it's yours, and that you feel comfortable and excited to say, okay, on Saturday I'm gonna go over there with some friends and go hang out at Elwood or whatever. So I think that's like number one on my list. And then we just did that movie night. I don't know, 250 people came and it was super fun. We watched The Sandlot and got to meet a bunch of y'all. And I think and that had nothing to do with clothing. That had nothing to do with come by from Elwood. That was truly a platform for you guys to hopefully build on top of and connect in that way. I would love to revolve a couple more things around sport because it's so authentic to me. So probably work on some of those things if it's putting on soccer tournaments or basketball or I don't know.
World Cup.
The World Cup, yeah, that'll be a big one. But yeah, I think, I don't know, even just like Discords and just all like everyone be able to sign on and just ask questions and be together and do that stuff. Because it's tough. Like everyone's so fucking busy in this world and we all have like what we're trying to do every day. So trying to be respectful of that, but then also like understand that I could push it in a little bit because people clearly want this and I want this for myself and or other brands to do it. Like Elwood's not going to be the only one and I don't think we should be the only one. And there's so many other brands that do it in such a cool, authentic way. But truly my idea throughout whatever event that we do, it really is a platform for y'all to just kind of feel together. I think that's authentically me, I think, for everyone to hang out.
So in that spirit, I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing me talk, so I want to let you guys ask questions, make comments, just sort of riff. So if someone wants to throw up a hand, I'll deliver a microphone and you guys can go. Does anyone have questions, comments, things that they would like to say? Do you want to just hear us continue to talk? Yes, I'm coming right now. What's your name, man?
Sorry?
What's your name?
Oh, Joey.
Joey, here you go, sir.
Halfway.
Of course.
I had a quick question about the opening of the Nordstrom business. So, I think you had mentioned that you guys do the drop ship model for them. So that pulls out of your current inventory. I was curious, like, how did you guys set that up? And then also, any new, like, consumer learnings by going through Nordstrom? Understanding, like, what that buyer looks like or that consumer looks like?
Yeah, good question. We don't do drop ship. We do ship directly to their DCs. That said, we are set up and our operations team has set up for drop ship and it pulls from our inventory on the website. A lot of brands start like that. Nordstrom will, if they believe in you and think you're a cool upcoming brand, they will kind of put you on a dropship model, and kind of whatever's on your website, it feeds to Nordstrom's, and they just ship it directly from our warehouse instead of their warehouse. We personally got into like 5 doors like right off the bat, so they always kind of bought from us. So to be honest, it's a lot easier when they buy it from you, because like you don't have to like deal with anything. Once it's theirs, and hopefully it sells so they don't ask for money back. But the consumer, it's interesting because they have all like the credit card data and stuff. So it's crazy. There's like a lot of moms that are buying for their kids, wives buying for their husbands. And it's like an older age than I thought, but then it's so tough because it's the credit cards that they're reading. So sometimes it's probably skewed a bit higher, but it's like, it started at like 35 up to 50. So again, like who knows truly like the consumers that are shopping it, but yeah. That's kind of like the biggest thing that Nordstrom offers, that they don't share like everything. I think the one big thing, just to talk about Nordstrom and like brick and mortar, if y'all are starting a business, have a business, growing a business, whatever. I think for me, it was a cool thing for our brand to say we're in Nordstrom. And even when we were in 2 doors, everyone was like, oh my gosh, you're in Nordstrom. And what that does for like a brand and like the brand identity and awareness is huge. Even though the revenue was really nothing with 2 doors, we were probably losing money, to be honest, being in 2 doors with shipping and everything along those lines. And then the product has worked, and we have grown to a larger footprint in Nordstrom. But I think brand awareness at Nordstrom has probably been the biggest facet to us, because we do an online survey every time someone orders, and I think like 20% or 15% say, they learned about the brand in Nordstrom. Hence why I want to do a retail store, because I believe people vote on our product more than our brand. Not more than our brand, but I feel like they vote on the product and then maybe get obsessed with the brand a little bit. So Nordstrom was kind of like a little precursor to me having the confidence to say, okay, let's go open up a retail store. But yeah, good question.
Hey, what's going on? I just wanted to say that I'm a huge fan of the brand. I honestly don't think there's a brand I've connected more with in terms of clothing and just what you were saying, how it makes you feel when someone, gives you a compliment, says it looks good. Like, for example, like I just had a birthday recently, and I asked for some more Elwood stuff, and like my mom and my girlfriend are like, don't you want anything else? Like that's all you wear. And I'm like, no, I don't fucking want anything else. Like, I love it so much. And just like what you're saying, like I follow your YouTube channel a lot, and just look at the brand. I go to Nordstrom, try things on, just see what fits. And I'm 21 years old. I'm still in college, but through your YouTube and through Elwood's content and community events, like the sample sale, I've gone to this now, and just following it, I've really discovered that I think this is something that I want to do with my life, whether it's working for a brand like Elwood or starting my own thing. So just like, what would your advice be for that type of thing?
Well, thank you. That's amazing.
And happy birthday too.
Yeah, happy birthday. Crazy, 21. You did it. Nuts. I appreciate all those words. Those are huge to hear, and that's been the goal. Simon, my videographer, wherever he is, that's been the goal of YouTube. It's just to inspire in any way, shape, or form. There you are. Couldn't miss you. I did miss you. But yeah, my advice would be do it 100. I think in which way you do it, again, in my opinion, I would probably work for a business. And it doesn't have to be like a business that you are obsessed with, because maybe Elwood doesn't have a hiring, or whoever else you're thinking about doesn't have it. I think like working in this space and truly understanding like the work ethic and the ins and outs of the business will allow you to like expand your knowledge for wherever you go. But as an owner, that's what I ask for from my team, is just the hard work and dedication, and the love and the want to be there. So I think like being able to experience that wherever you go, but truly like understand that most employers are wanting that from their employees, and I truly love, when my team puts the brand first and elevates the brand in certain ways. So I think like getting in and just starting and learning, and honestly, bro, like people ask me, one of my biggest mentors in my life, I just ask questions, and I still do. Like I ask so many fucking questions, and that's how I learn. So that would be my advice: just getting your foot in the door of anywhere you want to be. It doesn't have to be men's clothing; it could be women's. It doesn't matter. It's just really like learning the ins and outs of the business, and where you want to find yourself. You're so young. When I was that age, like I think I still wanted to play pro soccer or something. So like, gosh, you have so much to learn. But yeah, that would be my advice: just getting your foot in the door and really dedicating. Even if you know you're going to be there for a year, just dedicate to that craft and learn as much as you possibly can. Ask the questions that your superior may be annoyed about, but it doesn't matter because you're learning. And it's another one thing that someone said to me is no one will ever like care about you as much as you care about you and your journey and your path. So kind of do what you got to do to be at the top of that for yourself. So, oh God.
Yeah.
Simon, Cleveland, Ohio. As you've grown Elwood, you've obviously built out a really big team. Can you share any wisdom on like how you manage people and how you actually run an office and work with like-minded creatives?
It started off with just me and my business partner, photographer, and maybe someone like working on social media. So it was a lot easier at that time to kind of like understand everything that was going on, and knowing that if I wanted something done in the exact way, I was probably the one doing it. So I think like it started off at that standpoint. And then, I think I learned a lot from my like past employers of like what to do and probably what not to do, and I really focused on what to do, and I loved some of the things that were given to me, and I think leading by example, and I probably am a little too close with like some of them of like we everyone feels very like at home at my space, which is great, but I also think like as Elwood is evolving and growing now, I think it has the opportunity to probably get like a little more, not cutthroat, but like a little more focused on the goals where we want to go. So yeah, I think like at the beginning it was just like I like making everyone feel like they're heard and understood, and that I'm there for them for good or for bad. That's kind of like what has always helped me through my journey, is feeling heard. So I try and do that as best as possible for my people, but it's gotten tough when you have 15, 18, 20 employees and not being able to be there for them every moment of every day. I think that's a struggle, and I go home and try and be the best that I can do and show up the next day and be even better. So yeah, that's been a challenge for sure, but yeah, learning from others and all of that. So yeah, thank you.
Hey, when you come up with like styles or designs for Elwood, how do you determine like what will actually line up with the direction you want Elwood to go in?
Yeah, good question. I think like when we go into the initial like design kickoffs, there's like a lot of mood boards that are thrown around of where and what we want to do. Constantly, I'm on Pinterest and Instagram sending my design team, my content team, like cool ideas that other brands have done, cool vintage pieces that people are posting, other pieces that brands have done. So it all starts there, and then it just keeps getting narrowed and narrowed. And I think like one of my biggest things is I narrow it down to when I get and I don't know if this is right or wrong. Again, this is in my opinion. When I get a feeling when a sample comes in, and there's this feeling of like, okay, this is gonna work. This is what someone needs. Even though like I might have not been excited over that garment, and I might have been way more excited about a piece that personally I worked on and that I wanted to go through, but then Nev or Mo or Wayne, our designer, puts through something and it comes in and I'm like, wow, this is like unbelievable. So it's a lot of like feeling for me. With that said, as we're continuously growing, the feeling to my CFO sometimes is like, okay, well, we got to have like numbers attached to this stuff now. Bless his heart, it's to deal with me at times, but yeah, I think it's really like truly a feeling of when it comes in, I put it on and I go, okay, yeah, this is it. And then obviously it has to fit within the collection that we're doing. If it's Wyoming or Mitford or we're going to Italy at the end of the year, like stuff along those lines. But truly a feeling of right when I see that first or second sample, I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is gonna be it.
All right, so might be a dumb question, but what is Elwood?
Yep.
Like, what does it mean?
Yep.
Everybody asks me, like, what's
Yeah.
Elwood?
Yeah.
When they see my hat,
Yeah.
because it's all I wear.
Yeah.
And then secondly is like, what goals do you have in the next 5 years or key milestones for the brand, and like, where do you want to go in the next 5 years?
Yeah. First, Elwood. It's just Jake from Elwood, the Blues Brothers. If you guys have watched that movie, his name's Jake from Elwood. That's really the ins and out of the name Elwood. And it sounds like it's cool now with where Elwood has evolved to of like vintage inspired. Elwood feels vintage. So that's truly what Elwood is. And then where Elwood goes in 5 years is creating like a bigger community, I think 4 or 5 retail stores in probably the top like cities across the United States would be super cool. Having like big events, starting with this and just continuously getting bigger and bigger from an events perspective. And then just allowing like the revenue and the growth of the business to just kind of come with it and whatever it's kind of supposed to be. I used to get so hung up on like the overall revenue of this business and how am I going to grow it and what am I going to sell it for and how much money am I going to make. And when I talked about earlier in the thing of the competition, when you get down in that path, like someone's always bigger, someone's always better, someone always has more revenue, someone always has more growth than you, someone always has more likes on Instagram than you. So I think like allowing Elwood to really evolve in this space, in the path that it's supposed to go down, I want to organically allow that with kind of growing our physical platforms, retail stores and in-person events, and then yeah, I think we'll see where it goes in 5 years. But I think if we can do that and have a team that's dedicated to doing that for the next 5 years, I think we'll all be in a place that we're super excited about.
I don't really know about the genesis of Elwood. Like, when did you get to the point where you're like, I want to start a brand and I love this and I want to create stuff that I want to wear, to actually being like, okay, this is my first drop. Like, what did that look like? Was it like I just started creating clothes for like maybe my friends or just myself? How did marketing for that look? What was like the genesis of Elwood?
Like I said, I do Walmart's young men's apparel for them. So before Elwood, I was kind of doing that, or I still am doing that. But I think the Elwood vibe, it was about creativity at that standpoint. With Walmart, I love them. It's a great team that I work with. If they're watching this, because they will be. I do love them. They are the best. But not that you're in a box because you're dressing the whole United States with them, but you're not able to be as creative as you really want to be because you got to be a bit more democratic so everyone can kind of go and buy it. If they go buy 1 million t-shirts, they got to go sell 1 million t-shirts. So there was that aspect of like, okay, this is cool, big business, oh my gosh, units. But then I wasn't really getting like the creativity from myself out of it. So that's when the thought of like, okay, I probably need like something of my own to really put this vision on. And that's obviously with that's Elwood. And And at the beginning, it was like I was selling vintage T-shirts and vintage Carhartt jackets and stuff, kind of like a lot of these LA brands have started, and what they've evolved into is so beautiful. But the marketing for that was just social media and me personally, and I don't have a big following either, so it was probably a little bit before you probably needed a little bit of following to kind of like get started as like a Kickstarter. But yeah, the marketing was just fun. It was just me in rag houses going through my favorite vintage pieces, and you would go through 2,000 samples and buy 50 of them, you know? So it was kind of that. And then there was a space when it would continuously sell out very quickly, and I was like, okay, when am I going to turn this into a business? And that's when it kind of was like, okay, why can't we recreate these styles and be able to like actually make money and scale a business? So that was like at the beginning of it all, and that was the first. And then when we started getting into actual product drops and collections and all of that, like I said, me and my business partner and really photographer at that standpoint just rented out like Apex Studio, like photo studios in LA, and just schlepped all the clothes up there, shot it, and then put it on Instagram and did it. And we didn't start with ads until probably year 2, I believe. But yeah, it was just so all over the place, but that was the beauty of it. Like the journey, when I look back on it, and I still love the journey today. I love going into the office every day and creating something new. But when I think back about that journey, it was like that was the best time of it all, of really like being scrappy and being able to, you know, change on demand whenever you want to, and not having a team, and you could kind of do whatever you wanted. And you learn so much about yourself and your team and your community and consumers through being so hands-on. So yeah, that was the beginning of it all. But yeah, Walmart pushed me to have a bit more creativity for myself and want to change the world and place.
To me, how you create balance between your personal life and your workspace. How, because you do have anxiety sometimes, how do you balance that, and what do you do, you know, to keep that balanced and have a relationship with beautiful women back here? Like, how do you keep your balance?
Great question.
It's a great question, and it's hard. Very, very hard. Is for those that are looking to start a business or have a business, you know that your business is your baby, and you know, I think like really being able to pause and meditate for a second and like understand like what is it all for, I think, right? And I go back and forth on this every single day. But I think with myself, maybe same with others, again, this is in my opinion, but I do until I'm like on the ground, like just anxiety, like not being able to move and just completely overwhelmed with like life. So I think like I've hit rock bottom so many times where I've had to like really try and understand what I can do for myself to help mitigate these anxieties and stresses of a business every single day. So for me, it's sport. I love golf. It's hanging out with Eva, watching TV. She tells me to get off my phone a lot of times, and I sometimes do and sometimes don't. But having someone like Eva it's my girlfriend, by the way, in my corner has always just been huge. She does help try and ground me as much as humanly possible. And I think the most powerful thing that I've learned recently is to say no. I think I say yes to everything, if it's new businesses or new opportunities or new friends or the new next best thing. I think recently I have been able to kind of like really been able to see what the word no actually does, not only for like your mental health and your life outside, but for the empowerment of you being able to sit there and say no and know that there might be an opportunity there, but that could ruin another opportunity outside of work. And gosh, I work on that every single day, but And sometimes I still make the wrong decision, but I'm learning. But yeah, that's what I do. Meditate a lot. My therapist is my angel. She's the best. Talk to her a lot, and yeah.
As far as like the financials go, and it's okay if I'm asking too in depth. How long did it take for you guys to do $1 million in top line revenue? And then what did you guys start doing to make it consistent?
End of year 1, year 2, about $1 million. And then it was just this like chain reaction kinda. And it was like peak of COVID when everyone wanted this stuff and everyone was buying, got their stimulus checks and all that jazz. So it almost was just this like chain reaction. And then, you know, for the past 5 years, we've grown like 150% year over year. And we just like have continued to pound like social media and social media marketing and now growth marketing and paid performance. But now at year 5, it's a good question because as you get to these bigger revenues, it's harder to grow 150%, right? I don't really have much of a following besides my YouTube. We've never raised any money. We have no celebrity or brand person attached to it. In this day and age, you know, if you get synced up with someone that can sell goods, you can do $20 million the first year if you're good on the back end, essentially, right? It's instant right away. So it's a good question that you asked that because now at year 5 we look at it and we go, okay, how are we going to continue to grow, knowing and understanding the expectation cannot be 150% year over year because we're not set up to do that. We haven't raised money to do that. So what are we going to do as a team and a company to grow? And kind of to what Nev said, it's back to brand more than anything. Kind of like what I told the team last week. It's why are we all here and what are we doing it for and how are we going to make a brand in a community in a space for people to be a part of. So it'll be through brand and we'll still have like paid socials and all that jazz, but it'll be really focused on the hard work of creating like this brand. Because I'm always this person that says now with where we're at and I also have friends that have scaled through, you know, paid performance and had great exits and it's just a different time than it was then. So I think really understanding without a brand, we have a business, but it's not a business that I want to be a part of. I want to be part of a brand that in return is a business. I don't ever want Elwood to feel like a commodity-based business where we're just here selling product to someone and it's, again, extracting from y'all instead of impacting. So year 5 is kind of like, okay, we've gotten to this revenue that, gosh, I never thought we could even get to. And now it's like, okay, is it all about the growth anymore? Or are we going to, I've told the team it's kind of like this slingshot, of like you're bringing back this slingshot to maybe step back a little from growth and continue to focus on brand. And if you do that in the right way, that's where we will grow by tens of millions of dollars, not the paid ads and stuff like that. So yeah, I think refocusing on brand bigger than ever in the next 2 to 3 years. And seeing what that does for us. Good question, though.
Yeah, great question.
So I found your brand because I saw a girl wearing your hat, and I went like on a hunt for this hat, and that's how I found Elwood. To follow up to what you were saying, for branding, how do you hone in on branding, and how did you find your voice within branding?
Good question. I think we're consistently trying to find like our voice in a way. I think when we first started Elwood, it was product focused more than even brand focused. We had these great products at a great price with a great quality, and once people bought, they kind of continued to come back. Our return customer rate is great. So I think like then it was like, okay, I don't want to be this commodity-based business. How do we sit and focus on brand? And it's always felt at heart like vintage inspired because that's what I've really loved. So I think it's been like a bunch of just like a lot of trial and error of like what works and kind of what doesn't work when it comes to the brand aspect side of things. And Elwood's in a very interesting place because we are a product-focused brand or business, right? We do a collection in Wyoming, then we do a collection in the north of England at Eva's house, and then we do a desert camo collection in Nevada, right? So I think like that's been the hardest part of Elwood, is really like cultivating what the brand really entails, because there's a lot of cool brands out there that probably are a little bit more like, okay, you are Western Americana, okay, you are sport in this, right? So I think every day at Elwood we continuously try and figure out, but again, that is what these 2 to 5 years are going to be, is really identifying like where we do sit as a brand and compete against that. So yeah, that it's a good question, because brand has always been that question for Elwood, of like really like where do you sit, and that was the beauty of it. That is the beauty of it, that we can speak to so many people, and that's what I've always wanted. With that said, we have to sometimes hone it in on something. So again, I think it's like it's a daily grind to really understand, if I want to fly out to Italy at the end of the year and there's that collection, but then, you know, next year we're going to Hawaii or something, right? And I never want Elwood to lose that, because I think that is the biggest part of our brand, is being versatile. But with like how much of a perfectionist I am, it sometimes does annoy me that we don't have a path, but then I have to tell myself that isn't my path. My path is this with Elwood. So yeah, good question. And I think we're learning every day what the brand is. And I think the brand will always evolve with Elwood, because that's what we are, if that answers.
And another question.
Yeah.
You mentioned when you started, it was just you and your photographer.
Yep.
At what point did you feel ready to hire on a team?
Yeah. After the first couple of drops where we were like, oh, there's like, this is like kind of real. And I think our first hire was a tech designer, because I knew what garments I wanted to make, so I didn't really care about the design aspect of it. I really wanted a tech designer to bring it to life. This guy called Art. So he was like one of our first like hires outside of Jessica and my business partner. That really allowed me to understand the direction and design I wanted, but he could actually make it come to life, because I didn't go to school for any of this. So, and then it just like, it was like a chain reaction. And then all of a sudden, like, we needed marketing. It was like, okay, I don't want to handle Instagram anymore. And then TikTok came along. We handled our first TikTok guy, and then, or hired our first TikTok guy. And then we needed a designer, because I couldn't focus on that. And then we needed paid ads. And so it just like all just started like compounding on top of one another. And yeah, that's been the craziest thing, is like waking up and being like, holy crap, there's like all these people here. And it's cool, sick, but it's like, what? Where did they come from? You know? Yeah.
Hi, Justin. Hi. I love your videos.
Thank you.
My name is Mario. You mentioned that you had a mentor when you first started. How much has that helped you?
Yeah, my mentor, he was everything, for sure. He taught me so much about the business, but also like the leadership side of business. I really looked up to him in the way that he treated people and the way his team responded to him and respected him. So that was like really huge for me from a leadership standpoint. And then I think from like a creative thing, I don't think I really had a mentor from like a creativity standpoint or a creative side. I think people just inspire me so much. So I see different people in the streets or traveling or whatever, and I get super inspired by them. But my mentor was huge in terms of like what to do and how to grow a business and how to treat your employees and stuff. That was huge for me. And then he was there to answer kind of all my questions, even though if he didn't have the answer, he always pointed me in the right direction. So I was very grateful to have that. And that's a huge thing too. And hopefully I'm not y'all's mentor, but hopefully you can learn something. But I think if you can find that individual that will answer your questions, I think you got to hold on to them for as long as possible, because if you're seeking information from them or knowledge, you clearly think that they have done what you want to do or what you want to be or how you want to be. So I do think if you can find that person to kind of sink your teeth into them, as long as they'll answer your questions.
So are you guys still doing the wholesale blank side of the business?
Yeah.
What was the genesis of that idea? And then I guess did it come from a place of there's a lot of LA blank manufacturers that are coming in at certain costs and like maybe not hitting quality and cuts? Did it come from a place of necessity, or I guess just kind of where did that idea spark from?
Gosh, Mo, the tall kid right there, he pushed us in many ways. He came from like screen printing and stuff, so he was able to like always. He was in it with like LA Apparel and Independent Blanks and all of those guys, and he always kind of just said like our blanks were amazing and we should do this and we should do this. Again, going back to my competitive advantage was understanding production and being able to bring in like quality garments at a great price. So I always kind of thought that we should be doing it. I love how we did it after we grew the brand, because my salesperson Albie, it's almost like for him it's kind of like fishing with dynamite now. There is already this brand, this well-established machine that when people say you can buy Elwood blanks, what? Like, okay, I want to buy them. So I think in which way we have done it is great. So I always thought, like, I don't know, you travel around and you see all these blanks, and I'm biased that our blanks are the best and have a great price behind them. So it was never of like when, or it was never of how, it was just like when we were going to do it. And I will say, this is not really part of your question, but it is such a capital intensive business that to be in, to have these blanks at all times, for someone to say, I need 5,000 pieces from you tomorrow, or I need 150 pieces from you. So that I think would be one of our, I guess, hurdles to back to your question, and the wholesale side of the business is like, how big do we want it to be? Because it's kind of up to us, and I say that as humble as possible. There's a lot of people that do want them. It just comes down to, is that going to be the focus of our business? Because again, like I said, we've never raised money. So if we raise millions and millions of dollars, yeah, we could kind of do it all. So it's picking and choosing where we want to do it. But yeah, that business has been very lucrative for us, and I think the only thing that holds us back is just like capital to kind of go and say, okay, instead of doing $10 million through that business, we want to do 150 million, and the amount of inventory you need for that is crazy. So
It's also hyper competitive.
Yeah, very, very competitive, and you're dealing with someone that's always going to say, I'll sell it to you for $1 cheaper, right? So that's why I think with this, I don't want to be the Hanes of the world or Los Angeles Apparel. I do want to carve out as these great fashion blanks that people trust and love. So yeah, good question.
When you were just starting out Elwood, how did you obtain the capital to kind of start that, or did you just do like a pre-order kind of model? Because I was listening to an interview with Emily Oberg, and she did a pre-order model. I was just wondering, what did you do, and what would you do now if you were going to start a brand in today's age or climate?
Yeah, it was really my business partner and I. We kind of put up some of our own cash, and we had like a couple other like small partners that helped us a little at the beginning, but again, nothing more than, I think it was like $50,000 or something. So it was very, very small. What I will say is, again, my competitive advantage over others is I do this Walmart business at such a high level, where our factories floated our business for us at the beginning because they wanted the Walmart business. So I would say, okay, I'll give you 10 million units a year if you kind of just like help fund this business a little. And that just means once it gets to our warehouse, I have 90 days to pay them. And as a startup company, that makes you live like right off the bat right there. So it's not necessarily that we got money. We were kind of just like, we took a little time to pay them back, and they've been a huge part of our growth. And then what I would say now, I think like Emily and like these other gals, and you know, I've been a part of some of these other businesses, helped grow some of them. And guys, if you have that like following and that demand where at the click of a button you can go sell garments or hair products or toothbrushes or whatever it is, the drop model is amazing for that. Like meaning, or that the pre-order side of things. It gets tough when you can't do that pre-order and you can't like sell that much. I think like I would recommend what I was telling. I think I've told Simon this. He's starting a business too. You guys should look at it. It's called Winslow. It's really cool. But kind of like setting aside if it's $5,000, $10,000, $30,000, $50,000, whatever, and just saying this is to COGS. This is what it's going to be. This is for my goods. No matter what, I am going to go and do this. And to be honest, I think the drop model is great, and it allows you to, or the pre-order, and it allows you to like have no really like risk up front. But I'm a person that likes a little bit of risk, so I think like being able to challenge yourself, and it could be 10 grand or 5 grand or whatever you have, to say I'm going to use this for COGS and that is that, and try and go sell it. I think it gives you determination, and you're starting from the beginning of setting your expectation of what you want to do. And I think that's a great way to continue on in business, is level setting your expectations and having realistic ones. So starting from scratch with probably a realistic expectation is kind of been my thing that I've told people. But obviously the pre-order thing, it's a lot. I mean, there's nothing. You don't have to really do anything. So that would be mine.
So I know you mentioned that you didn't go to school for fashion or anything like that. I'm in healthcare. I work in healthcare. I go to school. I'm trying to get my nurse practitioner degree, but I want to get into fashion. So how did you navigate that?
I was lucky to find this job at this women's clothing manufacturer, and I honestly packed boxes for the first 6 months down in Compton. But I wanted to just be in fashion. So again, I was in a different age bracket. I was 19 years old, and I had I could take risks at that time in my life. And so I think, I don't know, it depends like where you're at. It all like differs for people, but I believe if like, again, I think in my opinion, if you truly want to be a part of this industry, I think just kind of do it. And even if you have to start, I don't know, from scratch, packing a box or whatever it might be, if you truly want to be in this business, as cliche as it sounds, like you're probably going to be so much happier in your life doing something that you love every day, or at least like what you're doing. Not saying you don't like what you do, but if you have the urge to kind of go, I mean, in my opinion, I think kind of go and do it if it makes sense financially and you can kind of take those risks. But even being an intern, and it like, who cares about the label of what it is? You're at least like there and experiencing, and you're being able to learn, is this truly something you want to do and be a part of? And then when you get there and you are learning, where exactly do you want to be within the industry, you know? I wanted to be in sales, and then I was like, okay, I want to like be a creative. So it's changed for me, but I think just starting, and that's the hardest part. They say it with everything. I think just saying this is what I'm going to do and do it. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you for coming. I'm truly inspired by all of you guys. So this was a highlight of my weekend and my month, and I hope to do more of this. And to Nev's point, if it's commenting on my YouTube or Instagram, just letting us know what we can do and what we can be better at, because again, we're trying to serve y'all and be the best place that we can be. So thank you again for coming. I truly appreciate it. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.